Hello, people of the world watching new vehicle reviews on the internet. Welcome to this, the all-new 2026 Honda Passport Trailsport Edition, which is Honda's attempt at an off-road capable SUV. And today we're going to get there, nerd out in tech specs, see how it's constructed, and then go put it to the test off-road and see if it can do as advertised. First things first, tow hitch. Tubular steel. It is bolted directly to the subframe rails. Look at that square stock aluminum bumper brace, kind of beefy. All right. Check out this muffler design. Dual stainless steel in construction, curly Q downturn tip for better clearance. Manufactured by Felicia. Someone laughed at that. Charcoal canisters, easy access. Out back, the Passport Trailsport utilizes a multi-link rear suspension configuration with aluminum knuckles. The lower arms are stamped steel while the uppers are cast. Oh, fancy. Sox dampers. Rear anti-sway bar, which bolts directly to the bottom of the subframe, measures in at approximately 17mm in change diameter. Some more chassis bracing. Housed in the center of a steel rear subframe, providing the grip out back for Honda's iVTM4 all-wheel drive system, is a new improved twin-clutch rear differential unit. Manufactured by Honda and Matsuba, it features twin hydraulic pumps on either one of the clutch packs. It is capable of torque vectoring 100% of the torque to either left or right wheel, as well as active yaw principles, overdriving the outer wheel in cornering. Moving onward, you can see the unequal length rear tips go into a single muffler made by Felicia still. Big ass steel skid plate on the fuel tank. And then what the hell? It's got hairy cardboard in front of the steel. The Honda Passport, now in its 4th generation, chassis code YF9, as seen above in the Trailsport Elite trim, weighs in at 4,705 pounds with a 57.8 to 42.2 front to rear weight distribution. Whoa, what the hell? That's wild. That is the craziest exhaust routing I have seen on a new vehicle to date. It's got a little aero scoop. This wildly designed mid-pipe, which I'm sure is to reduce rasp and NVH, measures in at approximately 65mm in change diameter, or a little over 2.5 inch SAE. And another resonator. Honda, it's okay. Your engines sound fantastic. Unleash that. As far as the transmission goes, it comes standard with Honda's in-house designed 10-speed automatic transmission. It is a planetary gear set and torque converter based gearbox with a pendulum and a spring damper to help smoothen things out on the torque converter, and has a maximum torque input rating of 370 newton meters or 275 pound-feet. And again, it is paired to Honda's iVTM4 all-wheel drive system via the power takeoff unit in the back of the transmission, which can send up to 70% of the available torque to the rear wheels. Wow, that's an interesting design choice. The door actually protrudes below the pinch weld area. Huh. I don't know how I feel about that. Ease of maintenance, considering this is a transverse all-wheel drive V6, that is excellent because of the subframe design. You can see it goes up and over the power takeoff unit on the back of the transmission and the drive shaft, which gains a lot of access for maintenance. Well, that's wild. You can see the electric power steering, its variable ratio, rack is way up top. It is 3.13 turns lock to lock. And then up above that, you got the noise canceling system. Up front, it utilizes a partially steel, partially aluminum McPherson strut style front suspension with cast iron front knuckles. Again, paired with those Sox coil over spring front dampers. That front anti-sway bar measures in at approximately 24mm in change diameter, and that is one of the downsides of a transverse V6. The exhaust routing, there's no really great way to do it. You just gotta do what you gotta do. Some more steel skid plates, nice and thick. That's sweet. It's got a jacking point built into the skid plate, even says jack. And the bumper cover, that area is all plastic, silver painted. Does have some little recovery points that are powder coated orange. Time for the braking test. Nothing behind me. Ready, set, stop. Wow, all right. Incredibly aggressive pedal feedback. Very sharp bite initially. a lot of ABS feedback. I want to say it was a smidge shorter stopping distance than I was expecting.
This video is sponsored by me, my very own car detailing product company, RoboBubble, made in USA. And if you'd like to use what I use to keep my cars clean and also support this channel, this is how you can on my website, sarahandtune.com. Thanks.
That braking was just made possible thanks to a 2-piston front caliper with a 350.5mm or 13.8-inch front rotor. The wheels, they are an 18x8 with a positive 40mm offset wrapped in a set of two 75/60 18-inch General Grabber all-terrain tires. I guess you could say it's kind of a simulated beadlock looking design. And also, the valve stem and cap are in the middle of one of the spokes. Inner fender liners are plastic. Good. Their ride height, not too bad. That's like 2 foam fingers width right there. Big fan of these amber DRLs, and Honda is strongly in defiance of the separated headlight look that most manufacturers are doing in the 2020s. Projector LED fog lamp. Behind the grille, you got some active air shutters. Subtle nod to the old school first gen Isuzu based Passport. Hairy carpet inner fender liner. Is it just me, or would this kind of look amazing with a spare tire carrier on the back? It just hasn't asked for it. Out back, you go down to a single piston caliper with a 13-inch or 330mm rotor. Wheel and tire, same size as you have up front. In the name of science, it is now time to give it the beans. But first, assessment of bolstering. That was a smidge of bolstering, just a micro smidge.
The seats, because this is the Elite trim, it does have these two-tone tan and gray leather with perforation. Fairly squishy butt cushion.
Feels like it's got good bolster to it, maybe for someone that's a bit wider.
They're both ventilated as well as heatilated. The steering wheel also heated. As far as drive modes go, I have a little orange flipper in the center where I can go from Econ to Normal, Sport, Snow, and Tow. The others are for off-roading.
As far as traction control goes,
traction control, where are you? Ah, it's hidden in the menu. Okay. Oh. You can't even turn it off fully, you can only reduce it. Interesting. In addition to the drive modes, the transmission also has drive, as well as its own sport mode.
Downside is it's not a true manual mode. If you don't shift, it will shift for you. So it's kind of just a placebo effect. I don't think that's the term that you're supposed to use in that sentence.
There are some flappy paddles in the back of the steering wheel. They are plastic and move with the wheel.
See what this thing can do. Ready? Go. Little hesitation on the launch. Soundtrack. Short shifts, it's short shifting. Weird, it's not going all the way to red line. That's good. It sounds good, but the new dual overhead cam is not as audible as the older single cam J series that had VTEC. It still sounds good, but not as aggressive. Hood pop. That is a very Honda feeling hood pop latch. Oh, it's a fake vent. I was really hoping that would be real. That'd been neat. I got hood struts at least. They totally could have made that vent functional because what? Oh, that's such a missed opportunity. Underneath the hood of the 2026 Honda Passport Trailsport is the J35YH, which is a 3.5-liter dual overhead cam naturally aspirated 60-degree V6 that produces 285 horsepower at 6,100 RPM and 262 pound-feet of torque at 5,000 RPM. All things considered, being transverse V6, this is actually a spacious engine bay maintenance-wise. Literally the only thing over here on the passenger side, you got the ECU, air conditioning barnacle, and then the motor mounts right there. That's it. What the hell? This is insane. All right, so the air comes through this grill into the little snorkel tube. Off to the side is this lung that's kind of a silencer resonator system for the sound. And then it goes into the air filter on this giant plenum box on top of the engine, and then through another chamber into the throttle body where it then goes into the intake manifold in the valley of the block. That is insane. Looking down the front side of the engine, oh, there's the oil filler cap. That's in a nice location. Definitely need a long funnel. You see the fuel rail, the exhaust manifold underneath it. Digging in a little bit deeper on this 3,471cc V6, it is under-squared at an 89 by 93 millimeter bore and stroke with an 11.5 to 1 compression ratio. It does have cast iron cylinder liners cast into place in the aluminum block. And moving up to the cylinder heads where things start to get interesting, it has Honda's new low-profile cylinder head design where the cam caps are actually part of the valve cover rather than being a separate piece bolted directly to the cylinder head. It also does not have Honda's VTEC, it is just VTC, variable time control, as well as it has VCM, variable cylinder management, and it is a belt-driven engine, as well as it is direct fuel injection only. Electronic brake booster, and then you got a fuse box right here. Underneath this lung box, you have the battery. That's interesting. You look on top of the firewall, there's actually a little chamber right here for air to flow down into, possibly to cool the exhaust or maybe for the cabin air. Considering the Honda J Series is a pretty easy engine to work on, and this engine bay is not too bad looking either. Not bad. It is now time for Rally Special Stage 2.0. Gonna see how this rig can handle it. For off-roading, I have Trail and Sand, which automatically reduces stability. Also going to switch the transmission into sport mode. Let's see what this thing can do. Ready? Go. All right. A little bit of a mild launch. Sounds good though. Definitely sounds good. Smooth. Nice. Very smooth. Very, very smooth. Woo! Lets me get it squiggly a bit. That's nice. I was thinking the robots were going to intervene a lot, but this section's super rough. I can't go very fast over it. You can just hear the suspension kind of reaching its limits in that front right corner. The only downside, the fact that this has McPherson up front. Yeah! Spun the tires a bit coming out of there. Again, you can hear the suspension a little bit kind of reaching its limits up front. The downward travel is what it sounds like when I'm coming off of a bump. But super buttery smooth out here. Feels very stable. Sounds good. The TCU and ECU doing a good job keeping me right there in the power band. Let's see how it does this. Yep, neutral, very neutral. A little bit of hesitation right there. Good, 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 good. A lot of bite in these tires. This is all tore up right here. Ooh, nice oversteer. Actually let me rotate this thing. The handling is, it's light, but it's very direct. There's not a lot of spongy laziness to it. It's quick too. Not bad. That's a really harsh bump I just went over and it handled it pretty nice right there. Yeah, this is actually pretty quick out here. The thing that's standing out is how stable and just kind of sure-footed it feels. Quick. Feels, man, quick. It's quick too. This is actually turning out to be a quicker lap. I didn't think it would be over that first really rough section, but brakes are excellent, excellent out here. That's harsh right there and it handled it no problem. Yep, good, excellent, really good. I'm impressed. It is now time for a hill climb test. I'm going to put this thing into trail. Let's try trail mode. It is a trail. It's sandy, but it's a trail. Oh, it brings up my cams. I'm gonna use regular drive instead of sport, standard inflation. And let's see. Nice and super slow run up. Challenge this thing. Okay. Give it a little throttle. Oh yeah. Ooh. Brake over scraped a little bit. IVTM4 all-wheel drive system is one of the best for transverse drivetrain configurations. Absolutely stellar. These tires make a huge difference too, but wasn't even a challenge for that. What was a challenge is the brake over. This is all sandy, so I'm not too worried about if it scrapes. It's really soft here. And then, yep, scrapes a little bit. Actually, I don't think that was on the door. I'm letting off, my foot is not on the brake. Loud robots. Good job, good job. The shape of this kind of reminds me of an Element. It's very box, square, robo open.
Storage capacity is healthy. It's got a healthy amount back there, nice and wide too. There are some bins on the side shaped perfectly for a small package of toilet papers on the go. Will the sides come off? Oh, they come off. It's got hardware. You can remove it too. There's an AC power inverter and a button for when you just call it quits and need to walk away. Underneath this area, oh, it's side, whoa, that is huge. You could almost make it to a cooler, but it doesn't have a drain. Also, that is nice quality. Wait, does that mean this does the same? Oh no. Oh, that's where the spare is. Oh, there's some mountains, neat. It also has these little snaps, so it locks into place. This is very nice quality. Temporary use only, not what I want to see on an off-road model. All the more reason for a rear-mounted spare tire carrier. Well, that's anatomically correct.
I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I really feel like someone should design an aftermarket spare tire carrier for a full-size spare. It would look, I think it would complete the look of this. This is the shape of a backseat of a new Passport.
The rear seats are heated and you get your own climate control back here, as well as a AC power inverter.
I got the upper middle class shades here. That's how you know you made it.
More cup holders than you know what to do with. All right, Honda, fancy door cards back here. Is this actual metal? No. Tweeters.
The back seat of the Passport is enormous. I'm a Sasquatch and I have a mile of legroom and headroom.
Fancy map pocket. Considering it's got a drive shaft underneath, you wouldn't be able to tell. Completely flat floor. I really like those floor mats. Center armrest.
I don't know if these seats recline.
No, but do you slide? No, you don't slide either.
Armrest, oh, that's buttery soft.
That's super soft.
That's like a pillow.
Wow. Features robo fold mirrors. The door cards, is that, oh, that is soft. Well, that's neat. There's two cup holders up here. A wireless phone charger and some topographical rubber matting around it. I don't know what that slot's for. Maybe a deck of cards. I guess you'd have to be an OG Honda nerd to be excited about digital climate control. On the passenger side of my best friend's ride, sorry, there's also a little area where you could store some snacks. You really get an idea just how wide this thing is when you look at the center console armrest. You could probably fit like 2 rolls of quarters in that thing. It's huge. The center console has more of that neat holographic trim. This one's also equipped with a massive panoramic roof. As far as the gauge cluster goes, it's a digital display in the center with some, actually those are kind of digital, little temp and fuel gauge on the sides. As you should expect in 2026, chock full of robot safety features, controls right here on the steering wheel. You got all-wheel drive torque distribution gauge. As far as the infotainment system goes, I like that it says Passport embossed in the plastic right here. It does kind of protrude up out of the dash. Looks like a tablet stuck to it a little bit, but it does have fruit and robot compatibility. Oh, that's neat. Can I change the color? I want to change the color. Yes! Oh, I love that they put this in there. They don't need to, but man, does it make a difference. The Bose sound system in here, it's loud and it's crisp. It doesn't have extreme bass. Nothing is really extreme about it, but it's good. One of my favorite vehicles back in the day was the old Isuzu Amigo 2-doors, which was based off of the Isuzu Rodeo. And that also was the first generation of the Honda Passport, which was essentially an Isuzu, but with Honda badges. I think they're kind of underrated. It's absolute beast off-road. I was hoping for a shift more in that direction with this new refresh of the Passport. I really wanted to see a longitudinal drivetrain layout, kind of like how Ford Explorer just recently went to that. It can only be so capable with this type of drivetrain configuration. And this is reaching the upper limits of what you can just do physically with this type of packaging. This thing does excellent off-road, and for the average person, you can tackle some pretty serious trails with it. The fuel economy for being a naturally aspirated V6 isn't bad. However, I get about the same fuel economy in my 2-door Bronco, the manual on 33s. It's shaped like a brick. Pricing, where the Passport starts in the low 40s for the RTL, and then the Elite, this one being over 50. So you know, that's a lot. On road, it handles great, and that's the benefit of this thing having a transverse mounted all-wheel drive system. It handles like a car almost at times. when you send it in corners. You can hear the hum from the all-terrain tires on it, and it's trying to do two things at once. And it does a pretty good job at those two things at once, but it's never gonna be a pro at either one of those.
It is now time to give this Passport Trailsport Elite some scores, starting with the bean score, the assessment of the feeling you get in your gut when you give it the beans. And it earns a rating of. Next is the cookie score, the assessment of value, and where the Trailsport starts in the upper 40s, but this is the Elite trim, so it's a little over 52 grand, and it gets a rating of. Followed by the wrench score, assessment of ease of maintenance, and it earns a rating of. Next is the meatball score, the assessment of off-road capabilities, and Passport Trailsport gets a rating of. Lastly is the penguin score, the assessment on how much I personally like a vehicle, and the new Passport Trailsport gets a rating of. I like it a lot more than the last generation, and this is a big step in the right direction. And I feel like maybe I was asking too much for it to switch to longitudinal body on frame, because that's not really Honda's thing, and it never was. I mean, the first gen was an Isuzu. I want to see them try. I would love to see them try to make a Bronco or 4Runner or Wrangler competitor. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this review. I'll see you soon with another. Bye!